What's up, guys? Coming in a dark zone here to share with you a life vision strategy. And I think this is something that a lot of the guys that I'm working with right now, whether that's in coaching or simply friends having this conversation, comes up a lot with men between 18 and say 35. And that's trying to figure out what you're doing in your life, where are you going? And it can be really freaking frustrating when you don't know what the hell you're working towards or aiming for. Let's say you are in a job that you don't like, or maybe you're an entrepreneur and you have self-autonomy, but you don't know what your grand vision is or how to even plot that out. This is something I've struggled with. This is something that I continually work on over the last 10 or 15 years or so since I started working out in the field, trying to create a vision as an entrepreneur. And one of the things that's given me a lot of clarity lately is this exercise I'll share with you. I just shared it with a friend on the phone just a second ago, and he found some value in it. So hopefully you do too. So right now I'm looking at my life in 3 different time frames. And for me, that is a 3-month time period, a 3-year time period, and a 5 to 10 year time period. And when you're younger, it's harder to look into the future. It's also maybe not dependent on age. It's more dependent on what you've accomplished, things that you've engaged in that required a lot of patience. So you start to believe in your ability to future predict and to future plan out a methodical approach to achieving something longer than these instant gratification hits of getting paid by a job or instant pleasure like porn and all that kind of thing. But I digress. So I'm looking at life in 3 different time periods: 3-month, 3-year, and 5 to 10 year. In the 3-month time period, if you are pursuing entrepreneurship or pursuing material success, what we're gonna need to have is cash flow. We need to pay the rent, we need to survive, we need to give back in terms of giving people back things that we owe them through emotional and financial debt. Let's say paying your parents back loans if you borrowed something, paying the bank back loans, paying credit cards, paying off your car, things like that. Now, what we do in this short-term time period is we find a job or we execute a business or we do something just to get money coming in. And what we really want to achieve is to be getting money in while we're building skills that'll support the medium and the long-term vision as well. So for example, if you're taking a job, don't take a job at Walmart where you're just being a greeter. Take a job where you are a low-level marketing assistant if you want to become a digital marketer and run your own agency one day. That's just a micro example of how that would be. Even if the pay is similar, you want to have the skills that are accumulating so you can execute later, get more leverage on your time, and earn more in the future. So we're just trying to pay our bills, just trying to survive in this short-term 3-month time frame. The best case scenario in the 1 to 3 month time period is to make the minimum that you are required to in order to survive while maximizing the time that you have on the side. I know many millennials in my life around my age, a little bit younger, who have pulled off jobs where they're making a decent amount of money. They're frustrated because it's not the amount of money that they want to make, but they have so much extra time. For example, working online remotely, you're working for somebody, they don't necessarily know how much you're working. And if you really are honest with your time, you're working about half of the time or less that you are being paid to do so. That leaves all those other hours to go and start on that project that's going to pay you out in that 3-year or that 5 to 10 year time frame. In this 1 to 3 month time frame, you are not choosing your opportunity based on pay. You are choosing it based on survival and accumulating excess time that you can increase your leverage to earn more and be more and feel more, experience more later. So we're not assessing the opportunities based on the financials. We're basing it on who are we going to become and can we meet our immediate needs and pay our bills. So that's very important about this 3-month time frame. Now the next one that we're going to go into is the 3-month time frame. If you're trying to become an entrepreneur or you are an entrepreneur, you maybe went through some setbacks and you're starting over, well, we're trying to look and find what is the project that we can create that's going to give us more leverage for our time and hopefully be more fulfilling as well. Although this 3-year time period does not have to be necessarily the most soul fulfilling if we have a longer term vision that's going to be more happy, more pleasurable. I see a lot of successful friends and entrepreneurs that will do something, eat shit for about 2 or 3 years, but they've got a grand vision in the future that's going to be a lot more pleasurable, a lot more fulfilling, and that's okay. The ideal situation here, when you're working to get paid on your 3-month time frame and you are working for something that's going to give you more leverage for your time in that 3-year time period, is ideally you want to set it up so you've got 20% of your time generating your income to survive, and 80% of your time is working on that 3-year project that's going to pay out, give you more leverage. Now, a lot of times you will be able to achieve a 50% on your making your bills and 50% on that longer term, medium term vision. And ideally it's again 20% on your pay, your bill pay, and 80% on that medium and long term vision, but it's not always going to work out like that. And if you happen to fall into that unfortunate category where you've got to put 80% of your time into making your payments and only 20% of your time in building your medium-term vision, then my heart goes out to you. You've got a tougher journey. And if you fall into a worse ratio than that, and you're like 99% of your time making your bills, well, you've got to find something else immediately. That's the only time when I would say like quit that job, find something else. Obviously find something else before you quit your current job. But if your ratio is far away from 50-50 or 20% into bill pay and 80% into vision, then you've got to really figure something else out immediately. There's no more time to waste. And unfortunately, a lot of people are falling into that. The more accurate statement here is that most people are in the ability to schedule out 50% towards right now and 50% towards that medium-term vision. However, you are typically doing 50% into bill pay, 40% into scrolling mindlessly on Instagram, addictions, going out to the bars, and all that short-term pleasure behavior, and maybe 10% on your medium-term vision, and you wonder why the progress isn't happening quick enough. Now let's talk about the third part to this sequence, which is the 5 to 10 year vision. This, in the ideal world, you're working like 90% of your time is on this long-term vision, right? That's assuming that your needs are met from a financial standpoint. Your rent's paid, your food's there, you've got all the emotional support you need, you got the relationships, all that, like the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, all those bases are covered, right? And you're really just working onto the impact. But for the most of men, young men don't really get to hit that unless they worked really hard in their childhood. I got a buddy who's a famous musician, right? And he was working since 6 years old at his craft, playing guitar, violin, right? So now he's at 27, he's already in that zone where he's not necessarily thinking about paying his bills. His medium-term vision's covered. He's making a lot of money, and now he's just making his art, contributing to the world, right? What we want to do in our early 20s, early 30s is set ourselves up so that when we reach that 5 to 10 year vision, that's what we can do. We can spend 90, 95, maybe even 100% of our time into that long-term vision, that impact, the contribution, that dent we want to make into the universe, right? But a lot of times that's not going to be the case. In the way that my current life is laying out, the energy distributions are pretty much, let's say 60% is going into the medium-term vision. I've got about 20, maybe 15% into the short term, making my bills get paid, and I've got about 20-ish% going to the long-term vision. And for me personally, I'll give you the breakdown on that because it might add some value to you. The way that I'm paying my bills right now is marketing consulting. I do Facebook ads for remodeling companies, and I do consulting deals where I help people optimize their marketing and make them more money. My medium-term vision is I've got my lion's mane mushroom tincture business. So we produce mushroom extracts to help people unlock mental clarity and eliminate brain fog. And the long-term vision is this. So this is getting about 20% of my time right now, making YouTube videos, planning out to do seminars, coaching groups, these type of things. That's the long-term vision. That's my current energy distribution. Here in the next 3, 6, 12 months, I'm able to give more into the medium-term vision. And then as that medium-term vision, that 3-year project grows, the business grows, maybe I sell it, maybe I hang on to it. But at that time, when the financial resources are abundant enough, I can shift all or the majority of my energy into that long-term impact, the giving back, the contribution, the dent I want to make inside of the universe. So this is a transparent video, partially speaking into my life, but I made this to hopefully stimulate some ideas in you and how you look at your future, and really kind of leave you with the idea that if you wake up and you are feeling like you don't know what to do, or you get into these very stressed periods where you're being thrown up and down with the emotional roller coaster of existential crisis, the reason for that is because you don't have clarity on your short, your medium, and your long-term vision. Look at your life like a chess game, thinking many moves ahead. One of my marketing mentors said it to me like this one time: imagine you're playing life and business like you are a chef preparing a meal. You want to be cooking the dishes ahead in advance so they're all ready to be on the table at the same time, right? You got to learn how to think ahead and prepare what it is that you need. And in this metaphor, it's the skills, it's the relationships, it's the environment, it's the businesses, it's the physique. You need to be planning these things several steps ahead so they're all ready at the same time to create the experience of the meal in the metaphor and the experience of the life that you want and you desire to live.